No, I know I'm not smarter than you.
Then how did you catch me?
You had disadvantages.
What disadvantages?
You're insane.
But there's also something even more frightening about a guy who just has you pegged the minute you walk in, and uses that almost immediately to start manipulating you.
You came here to look at me, to get the old scent back again, didn't you?
I want your opinion.
I don't have one right now.
Well, when you have one, I'd like to hear it.
When you get more files, I'd like to see them too. You can call me when I have to call my lawyer. They bring me a telephone. Would you like to leave me your home phone number?
Hopkins could be evil, but you never really got mad at him. This guy you just want to smack in the face half the time.
But it wasn't the act that got you down, was it? Didn't you really feel so bad because killing him felt so good? And why shouldn't it feel good?
What an asshole. In the book, he's used about as much as he is in Manhunter, but in Red Dragon, they upped his role because of his popularity.
We mustn't judge too harshly, Will. It was his first time. Have you never felt a sudden rush of panic? Yeah, that's the fear we talked about.
On top of that, we've also had 2 other movies to build up the creepiness. So by the time this one rolled around, there was a lot more build-up as to what to be afraid of. We also see how he was captured in Red Dragon, which is interesting, but I'd be lying if I said I sort of didn't want to see that. Like it's better left to the imagination. And come on, how did he survive that? Next time, drop a safe on him to be sure. It's true that his age can be a little distracting in the movie, but I'm not gonna lie, the character does seem stronger when Hopkins is doing it. Now, I'm sure a lot of that has to deal with the fact that there's more time and 2 other movies to develop him, and on top of that, it's an Oscar-winning performance. But still, I think it's worth noting Cox's performance as well. Yeah, it's different and there's not as much of him, but just like Michael Mann did with the other killer, there's little music, little shadow. The creepiness just comes from the performance and the blunt, harsh reality of the situation. With that said though, it's pretty hard not to love a guy who can find the real meat of a role. Point goes to the new.
Smell yourself.
Thomas Harris's books are always filled with colorful characters, and these characters are just as colorful. Best supporting cast. Again, a lot of good performances and actors to choose from. Let's start with Graham's family. In Manhunter, the wife is played by Kim Grest, and the son is played by David Simon. In Red Dragon, it's Mary Louise Parker and Tyler Patrick Jones. While there is a connection in Red Dragon with them, Manhunter devotes entire scenes to how this is all affecting their lives. Even a scene where he confesses to his son the hardships of a sick mind and what it means to live with it. This is a very strong moment.
Barry's mom had this newspaper. It said you were in a special hospital.
And I was transferred into the psychiatric wing. That bothers you, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Though, am I the only one distracted by just wanting to see the old labels for things? Oh my god, has Life and Grape Nuts ever changed their logo? The Nosy Reporter is also a lot of fun, played by a jackass Stephen Lang and a pompous Philip Seymour Hoffman. Both are great, but I think I prefer the snobby Hoffman a little bit more. That's just my personal preference, though. Jack Crawford is played well in both versions, as are the other investigators. Wait a minute, is that Barney in both of these movies? Holy shit, it is! It's like he's in 2 different dimensions! But for me, the tipping point has to be with the blind woman dating the killer, played by Joan Allen and Emily Watson. And as cool as Joan Allen is, it's Watson who is far more memorable. Much more time is given to the romance between these two, and it shows in more detail how their relationship grows, which makes it all the more tragic when you see where it all ends up. In the original, it's a little rushed. The idea is that he finally falls in love with a woman and his psychotic killer mind doesn't know how to handle it. When the attempt to kill her comes in Manhunter, it's just sort of like another kill. But in Red Dragon, it's a real hard choice, and we know why. We've seen them grow close together. The relationship with the family is important in Manhunter, but I think the relationship with her is more important in Red Dragon. It gives the character more of a purpose as well as a weight. Factoring all that in, it seems like Red Dragon truly does have the better supporting cast, though only by a little. Point goes to the new.
You know, if you don't want to talk, that's okay.
Once again, it's all tied up, and it comes to the most important element, the story. Those who read the book know that Red Dragon followed it a little closer. But as we all know, that doesn't always mean it's going to make for a better movie. You could make the argument that the ending in Manhunter, though different, did at least keep the story in mostly a 3-act structure. Red Dragon actually has 2 endings, a fake out and then the real climax. I'll admit I'm not usually a fan of these fake outs, but at the same time it did allow Norton a psychological confrontation with the killer as well as a physical one. In the original, he just sort of fights him off and that's it. The rest of the 2 stories actually follow pretty similar. The main differences are how much you see of the family, the girlfriend, and Lecter. You see more of Lecter and the girlfriend in Red Dragon, but you see more of the family interaction in Manhunter. For me personally, I prefer more Lecter and the girlfriend. Also, the story is a little bit more spelled out in Red Dragon. You can follow Manhunter okay, but a lot of stuff flies by pretty quick. For example, there's just a line in Manhunter when they say they searched Lecter's cell and didn't want him to know. In Red Dragon, they actually show what they had to go through to fool him, and whether or not it works. In fact, a lot of Red Dragon is more visual. I remember much more of the creepy sets, the bizarre imagery, and the dark shadows. Now don't get me wrong, Manhunter looked good too. But when I think of it visually, I think more large beaches and a lot of blank walls. Come on guys, can't you hang a picture in there? I guess there was that weird backdrop in the killer's house, but honestly, I don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it.
All of this contributes to tell the story more fluently and providing a more natural narrative. And in terms of all that, Red Dragon does move smoother. Again, with the exception of maybe the ending, every scene seemed to fall nicely into the next. And the characters that needed to be focused on were constantly focused on. Even the ending isn't horrible, it just sort of seems a touch unneeded. Like they could have had the same psychological climax at the killer's house without the family. Yeah, I know, similar to what they did in Manhunter, but maybe with a little bit more dialogue. So just to emphasize, I truly do enjoy both of these films. They're both great movies. But if I had to choose which one I like better, and I do, it would have to be Red Dragon. Though only by a tiny bit. Point goes to Red Dragon. In my opinion, the superior film.
Oh, what a cunning boy you are, Will.
I'm the Nostalgia Critic, and if you'll excuse me, I'm going to eat some liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Hello, takeout. Yes, I would like to order your finest duck liver, please. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, sides? Yes. I would like a, side of fava beans. That would be lovely, yes. Something to drink? Let's do a Chianti. That'd be wonderful. What kind? A nice one. That'd be great. Something seems to be wrong with this phone.
Would you like to leave me your home phone number?